Okay, I'm Teemu Vilen, CCP Kiliat, and I'll be talking about the captain's quarters that we're working on right now as we speak. And it's a feature that's coming out in the summer expansion. Still making funny sounds. Let's see, I work as a producer at CCP from the CCP North America office in Atlanta. I heard that. I work a little bit across the projects, mainly usually on World of Darkness. Every now and then drop by. Last time I worked focused on the EVE Online, was with the Apocrypha expansion, was with the teams that did the Tech 3 ships fitting, ship fittings. Also another team that did the new player experience, skill queue, carrier missions. Been playing EVE for a while, been with CCP almost 4 years now. So, Incarna. Who's heard about Incarna before? Who read my dev blog? Why do I even bother? It's an old thing. Like Rainier, CCP Solaris, one of our founders, told me that it predates pretty much the EVE launch. Like it's something that we have always wanted to do with EVE. Get the characters out of the ships and out of the pods in the end, just like going to the planet side and shooting people in the face, which is something that we're of course doing with Dust now. And it's really about making EVE even more real and like giving it new dimensions. So far, what's happened with Incarna or walking stations or with Ambulation is that there's been some prototyping, there's been some design work trying to figure out like what is the best way of introducing Incarna overall to EVE, like adding this size of a dimension to EVE isn't exactly trivial. And there's of course been like different vision trailers. I think the first like Incarna vision trailer was from 2006. Then we did the Bacchus prototype with the Minotaur bar and the exotic dancers in 2008. But really what's been happening on the EVE side is that pretty much all of the focus on the development front has been on flying in space, like the existing gameplay, developing more features for that, and the expansions, like 2 expansions a year. So there really hasn't been a dedicated feature team that's been working on anything Incarna until now. And one of the reasons really is that the underlying technology just hasn't been there. We've been developing the technology for a while. And one culmination point, of course, for that was the character creator, which took a big chunk of the problem and paved the way for the next step. So, what we're trying to do with the Captain's Quarters feature, Captain's Quarters, small feature of the Incarna as a whole, it is about changing the experience of EVE and like just magnifying it, making EVE grander experience. It's all about your character coming to life, taking the first steps outside the pod. And it is about like docking to a station and being at the station as your character. When you're out in a ship, you're not an abstraction. You're not the ship or some thing floating in Jello. You are your character, and it is about taking like EVE as an abstract game about spaceships and shooting people in the face into a virtual world that is just more. Say what? Where you shoot people in the face. Yeah, you still shoot people in the face. It's fun. But it is like it is more immersive. It is more real, and this is of course like one stepping stone on the way to like full Incarna. And that's of course true for you guys. Like you're already in there. For the guys that are just making their way in there or want to be there, we are also changing the perception of EVE, how people perceive EVE and how they feel when they see it for the first time. And it's like oh, there's a puny ship floating in the middle of the space. It's not really as exciting as EVE really is. And it is like what we want to do with the Captain's Quarters, really, like it's like in a very, very small nutshell, is just being able to start the game as a character and through the Captain's Quarters and enter EVE through that and associate yourself as a character rather than a ship. And of course, what that gives us simply is just a sense of familiarity from real life, from other games. It's just easing people into EVE. I was like, there's no shame admitting we want new players. Like, we want to appeal to a wider audience. We want more people to enjoy EVE. And the beautiful thing about how we're approaching this is that we don't really have to change the gameplay. We don't have to dumb the game down or like simplify it, and we can still achieve this. What Captain's Quarters is, as a concept, as a wider concept, it is like your place of power. It's like your operational center, your nucleus, your home or home office. One thing though, like we took a very clear focus with these Captain's Quarters, these specific Captain's Quarters that we're making for the summer, and the features that we're making for these Captain's Quarters, and they are fairly oriented towards an entry-level player. Like the features that we're exposing and highlighting through the Captain's Quarters are features that are intended for the new player. Like corporation recruitment, we know that it's imperative in EVE to find a good crew of people to play around with. If you're alone in EVE, you won't enjoy it very much. It's a social game. Agent Finder, a completely new feature, and also we're revamping a lot of the new player content in the beginning, like the crash course, just to be simply compatible with the Captain's Quarters and Incarna. We also use the Captain's Quarters to expose content and events, what's going on in EVE, not only as like fluff telling stories about EVE, though I like that, but like real events that the players are actually doing inside EVE. News feeds, market feeds, pushing content onto the player, and yes. And just a little bit on the like what is the complete first step, big step, long step of Incarna, just to illustrate. So why did we choose these private Captain's Quarters that are fairly oriented towards the new player as the first step? We are adding an ugly word, ton of content to EVE, and like it's simply not possible to do it at once. Like making the character creator took half a year, and even that was of course based on previous technological development. Same here. Like we can't make multiplayer environments with combat and like crazy stuff all at once. And it's just smart to tackle it in small pieces. And when we did the character creator, or the team Stonehenge and the art guys did a fantastic job with it, they added pretty heavy tech. And this is roughly like the scope of it. If you imagine that all of these bars together are like the full platform for Incarna and developing more features on top of it. And like this is roughly the scope in the whole picture of like what it takes to make the best character creator known to man. So just for reference, this is what we're doing with Captain's Quarters. Like it's character rendering in the interiors, it's camera systems, character animation systems, 3D UI, NPC AI, just to make your character look alive and feel right. I mean, it just for the tech alone, it's a lot of stuff, and this doesn't even include all the artwork that goes into just figuring out the style and producing all the assets, or the feature development that goes into it, to make them actually just not a room that looks cool. And once we're done with the Captain's Quarters, the next obvious step is going towards multiplayer environments and multiplayer gameplay as well. So once we're done with the Captain's Quarters, that's the next step, but one thing at a time. And once we're done with this, we get beautiful things. But really, it's about releasing a feature at a time for each of these increments, like the character creator. We test and stabilize it once it's done, listen to the feedback, see what we want out of it. Next, improve on it, which is a great new idea that we had. And of course, like start working on the next feature. Like for instance, the team Stonehenge that did the character creator is now working on character recustomization and adding scars, tattoos. Like you might have seen some of that stuff here already or before, and that's coming out soon. but we're also working on the captain's quarters and also laying the groundwork towards the multiplayer environments at the same time. And once this is complete, we can do anything. And of course, like taking this like one step at a time, we don't have to like close ourselves into the basement for 2 years and come out with something that is hopefully relevant to the players. And we can keep teams also focused on the flying in space, which is, of course, the focus of EVE. So I just like this picture. Just a little bit on like how does this all, like how long does it take to actually make these things? Because there seems to be a lot of like misunderstandings. Like, have you guys worked on this for 4 years? So this is pretty much what we had last December. This was Captain's Quarters last December. Of course, we had like some very cool concept art and visual targets for it, but this was like this is where you walk. Let me see. Next, I was planning on showing you guys what we actually have right now in development and what is coming. Actually, more is coming to the test servers in a week or two. But just to illustrate. Let's leave it there for a second. So pretty. So would you like that? So this doesn't demonstrate too many of the features. And it's being textured right now, and a lot of the assets are missing, and it's a lot of stuff being worked on. Actually making really good progress, so summer shouldn't really be much of a problem. And one thing that I would like to point out from that is that, like, just from the forums comments to the dev blog, like the Neocom station services are all there. Like your interactions while you're in the captain's quarters are pretty much the same as in the current station hangar. The user interface when you load into the captain's quarters is loaded before the interior. You should be able to get into action in the stations and get out as fast as you currently do. So the intent really isn't to make anyone's life harder by this. Like if you're not a person that is just doesn't give a damn about Incarna, it's like fine, cool. We're just making things more beautiful for you. A little bit about the features that were just highlighted over there. One of the completely new features is the main screen, the big hollow screen in the captain's quarters, and it's kind of like a window into the greater EVE, plays video and content templates, exposes content and backstory, but at least to me more important, it tells about like what's really going on in EVE as done by players. For example, you might have a news piece playing there telling that an alliance took sovereignty over from another alliance, shows a player face that lost a Titan, or a Concord warning. It's like, or a Concord warning about the incursions in the next region, and like just like giving you stuff to do, and also like just content, like video ads, and directing new players with like aspirational goals, like telling you about, hey, you can do mining, you can do all kinds of different stuff without like grabbing you by the neck and dragging you along. Market ticker, something I really like. It's customizable, like if you want to just casually like keep an eye on Noxium prices, how they're going, or the price of salvage. It's like small, but I think it's pretty cool. News feeds from the Interstellar correspondent news feeds, just more of exposure into what's going on. Hangar balcony that you saw there. You and your ship, like this is essentially like enhanced current station hangar. Your ship in an actual real scale, which is really cool. And like as again, like the Neocom is still there. You can still undock anywhere from the captain's quarters. You don't have to walk to your ship to undock or anything like that. The character recustomization will be there, as worked by Team Stonehenge. Corporation recruitment. So just improving a lot on the old functionality, and this is just like something that we want to give to the new players, like simplified search, make it easier to find a good corporation, connect with people. Also adding more advanced options, like I noticed that the wormholes was missing from the list of like do you do 00 space or low sec, so we're adding those. Also just making the results, matchmaking results, like 95% hit instead of a flat list. Like one click, talk to this recruiting officer that happens to be online or join a corporate recruitment channel, which is currently a little bit difficult. Agent Finder is a completely new feature. Not going to tell about it, you can just guess what it does. And there's more done on just simply like NPE work. We're redoing the crash course content, redoing the tutorials, making the tutorial windows work a little bit better, adding graphics to them, and Aura, giving the voice overs back to her in all supported languages. We have other plans for her as well, but that's for later. And of course, like all the previous features really are like we chose them and designed them because we felt that it is a combined Captain's Quarters feature that serves a new player entering the Eve, exposing Eve, driving him along, directing him. Like I think the main screen is pretty cool even for me. I've been playing for a while, but essentially like as a whole, it's a new player oriented environment, and doing some other stuff. And for future, we of course have ideas, but mainly it's about putting it out there, seeing how people like it, listening to the feedback, seeing what people value. Is it more about like getting upgrades, getting more cooler environments, customizing them however you like it, inviting people over once we have the multiplayer tech in. And that was kind of it. Actually, I don't want any questions. I'll just add some extra material. This was pretty fast. So just running through a couple of things if you're interested in showing like how the work actually progresses. This will take only like 4 minutes, but some might find it cool. So this is where we started. It was just like really scribbly stuff, just defining what we want in there. And from there on, we try to start figuring out like the actual flow of the space in like more concrete terms in blockouts, with the actual UI and walking around in the environment. Very crude blockouts, more storyboarding, and also like it's very different to say like hey, think about how cool it would be to stand under your ship than actually doing it, and we found it pretty cool. And then it's like going into layout studies, finding details, and we do lots of these layout tests just to find the dimensions, like how is it to walk around there, like how big we want these spaces to be, This is an early mood piece, one of my absolute favorites of the Minotaur Captain's Quarters. Just also like defining targets not only for the textures, but also for effects, sound, lighting. This was the first like actual room layout for walking around. It felt nice. From there on, we do like detail paint overs on top of that blockout. It's like doo-doo, doo-doo. And also like from there, we start breaking down the environment into reusable wall modules. And the key part really is reusable wall modules. So after this, we have all these modules. It's very easy for us to build new environments or add new modules to build cooler and different kinds of spaces. And this approach is really valuable when we decided that this layout kind of like sucked monkey balls. And we decided to do something else instead. And it's like, same modules, just reorganized Lego pieces. Very easy and fast for us. And then there was the hangar balcony. These are very early sketches. I really like them. And from there, you can see the progress from a very early crude blockout version to a detailed blockout to a paint over and the final one. This one is for Minotaur that you saw already in the quick video. Now I can take questions. Actually have 12 minutes for questions. Let's run into the keynote. Do we have anyone that could run around with a mic? No. So, anyone? You?
I was just wondering, you mentioned that you had a lot of different ideas for the layouts for the capital quarters. Will you actually allow the players to change between multiple actual quarters? I prefer
yep.
A small enclosed space rather than a big one.
Yep. So the question was, can you choose what you get? In this expansion, you won't. How this works is that every race, every racial station, 4 of them, gets one captain's quarters, and that's the default. It's not really your own in that sense. Like it's like the default motel room that is waiting for you in there, and that's for starters. We're still thinking about like how we can create variations so that you have the same blood stain on your sofa when you. Who knows? Anyone else? Just wave a lot.
You said you were gonna do like broadcasts, like news, like your login news, except you're gonna put them on like the main hollow screen. Is there any work being done to like set up live broadcasts, I guess, of battles taking place or incursions happening, so people can like see it on the main screen or something like that?
That would sound awfully cool. Yes.
So this is a question about the user interface and menus. When you stare at things and interact with them, will they highlight themselves so you know what you're interacting with? Say you point the mouse cursor over them, or is it you have to tab out and bring up a brand new interface like some ancient games will do?
That's where the our awesomely fancy 3D carbon UI steps in, and yes, it will be awesome. And yes, it'll do that.
Thank you. 2 quick questions. First, maybe this was already answered. I couldn't hear. When you go to different stations, Minotaur, Galente, whatever, did you customize the way you customize your captain's quarters? Is that going to be for all of them, or is it going to be like every time you dock into a new type of faction station, are you going to have to recustomize it to your liking? Can you have 4 different captain's quarters depending on kind of faction you're at?
Yeah. Okay. So these are kind of like the default, like the lowest level of captain's quarters that you get. Like this is what everybody gets. And how we want to do like more advanced, different, customizable or not customizable captain's quarters is something that we'll tackle after the summer. And we don't have a final design on that by any means yet.
And my second quick question, kind of off topic, are we going to be able to see the new Neocom when this stuff comes out?
I actually don't know what's happening with the Neocom, or I kind of do, but I don't know where it's going. So, sorry, can't answer that either. There will be Neocom. There might be some changes to the UI. The UI guys are twiddling around with that to make things better, but right now I don't know what we're committing to and when, but things are moving along.
Since captain's quarters is now the default view when docking, what about ship spinning?
Yes. I right now. Okay, so ship spinning is really important, but the thing is that even like as you noticed, you didn't even see your ship there because of like coordinate system changes we had to do between Trinity and the avatar scene. So probably not this summer, but I can tell you that I really want to spin my ship.
Yeah, just wanted to ask a very quick question. I saw something on there about a change to the trial structure as part of the bringing new players in. There was a mention of trials.
What structure was that again?
Something about how people will actually come to the game.
Yeah,
new
trials.
Players.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you give us any details on what's actually changing?
Yes. The main concept is to no. Like we have a pretty good design for it, and like, why do you ask? But no, I'll promise that we get a dev blog out on that as long as it's confirmed. But I do think that it's going to happen for the summer. So it's just really restructuring like how much trial time you get, and like the very general gist of it is if you need to work to earn more game time to a limit. Actually, I can say more than that. So a lot of the things that we've been looking at in the NP front is about activities that new players do that tell them the right things about EVE and how that affects their chances of conversion. Like you can start off EVE with the wrong foot. Like if you close the tutorial window, you're pretty much screwed. Just an extreme example. So the trial changes revolve around at like pointing even stronger towards activities that we have found are useful for the new player and rewarding them accordingly.
For the hollow screen, would it be possible for corporations and alliances to sponsor their own videos for perhaps recruitment or propaganda?
Not this summer, but we have been discussing it.
Will the captain's quarters have a window to see outside the station?
No. It's also something that people really like, for just simply for pure technical reasons. It takes work to get that done, especially to see what's going, like actually really going outside the stations instead of having some faked star view or planet view. It takes work. It's not really on the critical path for this, so it might be something that we reserve for later on the like upgraded penthouse captain's quarters.
Okay, this is going to be the last question because we're running out of time. It's going to be this fine young gentleman.
With regards to the changes to the trial system, you know, a lot of skills and things like that are locked out when you have a trial. In the new trial system, are you guys considering having milestones? Like if you complete this much of the tutorial, you unlock these things, and so like maybe you only start with like a 7-day trial, but you can work your way up to a 30-day trial, and then open up new features as you continue to progress through the tutorial, which is more likely to make you into a subscriber.
I see. You want your alts into industrial ships?
Not necessarily for me, but I pay for my alts.
All right. Thank you, everyone.